Okay, guys, so I'm going to be talking about the history of redistricting in Ohio and kind of where it stands today. So, going all the way back, in 1981, a constitutional amendment was placed on the Ohio ballot to change the method of state legislative and congressional redistricting to a more mathematical approach that favored compact districts. This amendment was supported by good government organizations such as the League of Women Voters of Ohio, as well as by the Ohio Republican Party at the time. This redistricting reform effort was opposed by the Democrats at the time and their allies, who controlled the redistricting process and saw no need to change it. Ohioans saw Issue 2 of 1981 as a partisan issue rather than a change to ensure good government, and the opposition questioned the rigid mathematical formula of the compactness, and the amendment was soundly rejected by the voters as a whole. Representative Joan Lawrence, between the years of 1983 and 1999, led the way by introducing redistricting reform legislation every year that she served in the Ohio General Assembly. And when Democrats lost control of the apportionment board in 1990, they became more sympathetic to changing the system. However, at that point, Republicans had lost their enthusiasm for change, and they held on to the apportionment board, the legislature, and the governor's office through the 2000 elections, and saw no need to change the system for the post-2000 redistricting. In 2005, a coalition of individuals and organizations came together under the rubric of Reform Ohio Now, otherwise known as the RON, to promote a package of 4 constitutional amendments, one of which dealt with state legislative and congressional redistricting. RON included some academics, some good government organizations, some labor unions, and some Democrats, but very few Republicans. The RON amendments were overwhelmingly rejected by the voters. And on the end of the Republicans, it wasn't surprising since the GOP controlled the existing process. And on the end of the Democrats, an explanation for why it received little Democratic support was because there was an expectation that Democrats would sweep the 2006 and 2010 elections and control the post-2010 redistricting process. In May 2010, the Democratic-controlled House passed a different proposal which addressed state legislation focused on establishing rules for map making. The map making requirements of the Ohio House Plan focused on creating compact districts, keeping political subdivisions together, and creating as many competitive districts as possible and fair representation. This plan also included prohibitions on gerrymandering. So where does redistricting in Ohio stand today? According to an article published on CNN on November 8th, 2022, every 10 years, states redraw the boundaries of their congressional districts to reflect new population counts from the census. And so as of right now, Ohio will now have 15 House districts, losing one after the 2020 census. According to that same article, the Ohio Redistricting Commission approved a congressional map for the state. Because it passed without Democratic support, the new lines will only be in place for 4 years rather than a full decade. This map gives Republicans an advantage in at least 9 seats and gives Democrats 2 safe House districts in Ohio, which is the 3rd district, which is home to Columbus, and the 11th district, which is home to Cleveland. The Redistricting Commission was tasked with drawing a new congressional map after the first map, passed by the legislature and signed by GOP Governor Mike DeWine, who was invalidated by the Ohio Supreme Court in January. And after the 2020 census, Ohio lost one of its 16 seats in the House, and the new boundaries eliminate its only Black majority seat. This shifts voting power by demographic. This district had previously included Akron and Cleveland, but the new map moves Akron into another district, and the Republican drawn map is in place for the next 4 years instead of 10 because it passed without Democratic support.